Hi, I am Elisa, trail name Jabberwocky, and I'm going to show you what I bring on a backpacking trip. To get my pack ready to go, I print out this list and go through it section by section. So first off, I've got my food sack, my sack to put all of my cooking gear in, my stove, and I'm using a MSR Pocket Rocket. I think it's Pocket Rocket 2, and I've got a Bic lighter in there also. And my pot, the fuel, a lid, and I just use tin foil to save on weight. Works just great. Spoon. I stick all of that in here. Then I always make sure that I have fire starter for emergency. So in here I've got some char cloth and some matches. Another Bic lighter, which I probably don't need to have two. I could probably take one out. A little fire starter that we made out of wax and sawdust and egg carton, and flint and steel. That's not a flint and steel, that's a steel and a, can't remember what it's called. So that's it for the first section. The next step in getting ready is section number 2, the stuff that I'm going to bring on me. And first are the trekking poles, get them ready. Hiking socks, hiking shoes, and the socks I make sure that they're wool. Hiking shoes, I like to wear my Altras. Synthetic hiking pant. Underwear, wind, sun, bug shirt, that's what this one is. It's from REI. So the wind can go through, but the sun, I won't get sunburnt through it. And it's a little cool up here, so I've got 2 layers. A sun hat, sunglasses I didn't bring because I've got my glasses, but if I was wearing contacts, I'd have my sunglasses. And a buff or a bandana, and I prefer a buff because you can do so many things with it. The next section is the basics section. So we start with the pack. I carry a ULA Circuit, and I love it. They'll even put your nickname on there, and it's super comfortable. Next is extra hiking socks. Again, I make sure that I have wool because you're gonna need to trade out your socks each day for hiking and wash the dirty pair and dry them for the next day. A fleece jacket, this one I got on a deal from REI and it's worked really well. I like the weight of it and that it has this collar that can go around my neck, and I like the sleeves that they close around my wrists, but really any fleece jacket would be good. And paracord, 50 feet of paracord. I've needed it twice this week. Pack liner. So instead of using a pack cover for if it rains, I just pack everything in this compactor bag. I've also heard it said as contractor bag. I think they're both real things and they'll both do good, but they're a thicker kind of a bag. This one I've had for a year in my pack, and I just put everything that I don't want to get wet inside of this in my pack. So my sleeping bag, my extra clothes. All right, next up is first aid kit and repair. I have to do a separate video on the first aid kit, and I don't have mine right here because Brian just carried ours this time. Usually we all each have our own first aid, and just this trip we didn't. The next section is the miscellaneous, and that starts out with my phone charger and the cord to go with it. I use an Anker, and it can charge my phone 5 times. So that's super handy when I do a lot of taking videos and pictures and using maps a lot. So that's a good thing. Toothbrush and toothpaste. I take toothpaste and I dry it out and cut it into small pieces, and I just bring a piece per day. Super lightweight. And then you'll laugh, but there's my toothbrush. Just makes it small and easy to pack. And then on the list, we've got mosquito repellent, just a little guy. And then in the toilet paper bag, we've got toilet paper, little cloths that can be made big with water, and emergency hair ties so I don't ever have to have hair in my face, and a little thing of hand sanitizer. The next section is the easy to grab section. And that starts out with maps. I don't have a paper map with me today, but I've been using my phone also. My phone and a baggie to put it in if it's going to be rainy. Water bottles. Usually I use smart water bottles because they're so light, but I've been bringing a Nalgene with me lately because I can heat water up at night if it's cold out, put it in here, and then snuggle with my warm water. So I've been doing that, and I don't mind carrying that little bit of extra weight for now. Water treatment. We use the Sawyer system, the Sawyer Mini, and then my husband uses the Sawyer Squeeze, and I've been using his this time because his is faster. It's a little bit heavier, so you have to just weigh everything because you're gonna end up carrying extra weight, but if it works faster and better, you just have to decide for yourself. The next thing, rain gear. I just use the Frog Togs. They're inexpensive, so if anything happens to them, works out. And they're lightweight, so I can stuff them in and forget about them until I need them. And I've got the jacket, and then I've got the pants. And then next on that section, the easy to grab, is a headlamp. I'm using the Black Diamond Spot. I love it. I just got it. It's got a lot of features. It lasts a long time. It's small. I just really like it. And then I use a compass, a small compass. This one's a Suunto, and I would like to get the one that has the mirror on it because it's a little more accurate. This one works for me, and it's a really nice compass, but I'll be investing in another Suunto with the mirror. And on there I also keep a whistle. Next up is the tent or the hammock section, and this time I chose to bring a tent. So what I've brought are my sleeping bag, and this is a quilt, and it is a UGQ. I don't remember all the specifics on which one it is, but it's a 0 degree and it keeps me pretty warm. I've used it down to 15 degrees and I was cold, but I was okay. Like when it kind of gets drafty, I've learned some tricks for that, and I'll have to do a video on tricks for using a quilt. And the reason I use a quilt is because it's missing a lot of the zipper and the back, because the loft of the down doesn't work when you're compressing it when you're laying on it anyway, so it's just your sleeping pad keeping you warm. And then this trip I also brought a sleeping bag liner, and it seemed to help last night. It's another layer. It's also another thing to pack, so I'll have to do some experiments to see if it is worth its weight. Let's see, the next thing is my tent and stakes. I've already got them set up, so I can't show you that right now, but I use the River Country Products One Man, and I've used it for a year. I've probably used it 30 times, and I love it. The one downfall of that is that it can get some moisture inside if you don't stake it right for condensation and in a heavy rainstorm. I've been in rainstorms and I've kept dry. I do have plans to seam seal it, but for now it hasn't been enough of a problem to worry about. And it's lightweight, it's small, it's like 50 bucks. It's been awesome. And then the sleeping pad, I was starting to get everything unrolled and put in my tent, so it's out of its stuff sack, but a good sleeping pad. This is the Climate insulated, and it works well. And then luxury item that I don't always bring is an inflatable pillow. I'm enjoying that this trip. The last section for us is the cold weather ads. If I look and it's going to be pretty cold, I will put these things in my pack. So an insulating down jacket. I have other jackets that are actually down. This time I brought this one because it's a synthetic down and it has a hood. I really like those two features because I was caught in a hailstorm a couple of weeks ago and got totally soaked, and I actually had this, and I was glad I did because it'll still have some warmth factor, but when down gets wet, you're not going to be warm and it takes a long time to dry out. So anyway, an insulating down jacket. And then long underwear. And I use these to sleep in, but if I needed an extra layer, if it was getting cold on the hiking, I could put those on. And then I bring, and these are just polyester, but I did luck out a few years ago and get this wool shirt. It's a wool blend from Costco, and that long sleeve, and I sleep in that, but it's also, again, another layer if you needed to get into something dry, or if you're just super cold, need another layer. And then a warm hat, and I also love wool. Yesterday I had this out on a rock and I went off to go eat because we're in bear country, and it started a downpour. And when I got back finally from gathering all my food stuff up, my hat had been laying out in the rain. And wool will be warm even if it's wet. So it was before bed, and I just put it on, and actually by the time bedtime came, it had dried out pretty quickly. I was happy with that, and then I was able to be warm that night too. Last night. And then another thing, sleeping socks. So these socks don't make it into the rotation for hiking. These just stay so that I always have a pair of dry socks at the end of a day, because if I'm soaked and I get in my tent, I'm gonna need to get into dry things. And again, if it's summertime and it's 90 degrees and it's not gonna get cooler than 80 or something, you're not gonna need all these layers. These are for you know, your body temperature and what the temperature is going to be overnight, and these are just some ads if you need them. Glove liners, I'll usually bring some wool glove liners if it's going to be cooler, but it wasn't cool enough for me to bring them this time. And then you can also bring a balaclava if it's going to be cold, like under freezing probably, to have something that'll cover your face. Because like if you're in your down bag, you can't put your head in the down bag because that down will get wet, and you just don't want wet down. That's it for my packing list. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer. Happy hiking!